Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into philosophy, self-improvement, and the art of living a meaningful life. Today, we're exploring a topic that often gets misunderstood, or worse, ignored, the idea of the dark side, and how, according to Carl Jung and Stoic philosophy, it might actually be your greatest friend. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." But what does that really mean, and how does it relate to Stoicism? If you're curious about how embracing your dark side can lead to self-growth, personal power, and even peace of mind, you're in the right place. Stay with us, and by the end of this video, you'll have a whole new perspective on what it means to accept your shadow, and why it's crucial for living a full, balanced life. What is the dark side? Let's start with understanding what we mean by the dark side. In Jungian philosophy, the dark side, or what he called the shadow, represents the parts of ourselves that we suppress or deny. These could be qualities we deem unacceptable, like anger, jealousy, or fear. But here's the catch. Denying these parts doesn't make them go away. In fact, by pushing them into the unconscious, we give them more power over us. Think about it. Have you ever done something impulsive, lashed out in anger, said something you didn't mean, and wondered, where did that come from? That's your shadow at work, acting without your conscious control. In fact, by pushing them into the unconscious, we give them more power over us. Think about it. Have you ever done something impulsive, lashed out in anger, said something you didn't mean, and wondered, where did that come from? That's your shadow at work, acting without your conscious control. We try to hide our dark side, but it always resurfaces, often at the worst times. So what if, instead of fighting it, we tried to understand it? The link between Jungian philosophy and Stoicism. Now you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Stoicism? On the surface, these two philosophies seem different. Stoicism focuses on rationality and emotional resilience, while Jungian psychology dives into the unconscious mind. But when you dig deeper, the two are more connected than you might think. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot control, but it also emphasizes understanding our emotions, desires, and impulses, our own internal world. It's about mastering yourself, not through suppression, but through awareness and acceptance. This is where Jung's concept of the shadow comes into play. By acknowledging our dark side, we can better understand and master it, much like the Stoics encourage us to do with our emotions. Instead of fighting or ignoring the parts of ourselves that feel uncomfortable or unappealing, we can learn from them. Just like in Stoicism, where we're taught to be mindful and in control of our emotions, embracing the shadow means accepting that all aspects of ourselves, good and bad, have value. Why embrace your dark side? Okay, so why should we embrace our dark side? Isn't it better to focus on positivity and self-improvement? That's what society often tells us. But here's the thing, true self-improvement comes from wholeness, not perfection. When we deny our dark side, we create an internal conflict. It's like trying to drive a car while pretending there's no engine problem. You'll get by for a while, but eventually things will break down. Embracing your shadow allows for greater self-awareness. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. Once you see what's there, you can deal with it. And this is where Stoicism comes in again. Stoics believed in taking full responsibility for our internal world, and that includes the parts we don't like. By facing our shadow, we not only take back control, but we also grow. We become more resilient, more empathetic, and ultimately more whole. How to embrace your dark side? Practical steps. So how can you start embracing your dark side? Here are 3 practical steps to get started. First, practice self-reflection. Take time to sit with your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Acknowledge when feelings of anger, jealousy, or fear arise, and ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Journaling is a powerful tool here. Write down your thoughts and reflect on them. This helps bring the unconscious into consciousness, as Jung would say. Step 2. Engage in shadow work. This means deliberately looking at the parts of yourself you usually avoid. Ask yourself tough questions. What am I afraid to acknowledge about myself? What traits do I see in others that trigger me? Often, what we dislike in others reflects something unresolved in ourselves. And finally, seek external help if needed. Talking to a trusted friend, mentor, or therapist can give you a new perspective. Sometimes we're too close to our own issues to see them clearly, and getting a second opinion can be invaluable. These steps aren't easy, but they're essential for growth. Remember, just like the Stoics taught us, true mastery comes from understanding, not avoidance. Real-world examples of embracing the dark side. Throughout history, many of the greatest thinkers and leaders have acknowledged the importance of embracing their dark side. Carl Jung himself admitted to struggling with his own shadow and how facing it led him to deeper insights about human nature. In today's world, many successful individuals, from artists to entrepreneurs, have spoken about the power of acknowledging their flaws and using them as a source of strength. These stories remind us that our shadow isn't something to fear. It's something to integrate, to learn from, and ultimately to harness. So, what's the takeaway here? Your dark side isn't your enemy. In fact, it could be your greatest ally. By embracing the parts of yourself you've been taught to suppress, you unlock a new level of self-awareness and personal power. If this video resonated with you, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And if you want to dive deeper into topics like Stoicism, self-growth, and philosophy, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We've got a lot more content coming your way. Remember, the path to self-mastery starts with knowing yourself, dark side and all. Until next time, keep growing, keep reflecting, and keep living with purpose.